shows that we are live. Yep. So what I'm gonna do, you got YouTube on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to pull it up, because it can show the comments on yours as well.
Okay, cool.
Yep, just go to VR Alex.
VR Alex, right?
Yep, VR Alex 02.
Is it all one word, like?
Yep, VR Alex 02.
Alex
Yep.
02.
Yeah, I should pop up. Yep.
Okay, cool.
So if you go, yep, we're already live. If you want to go to the live.
Okay. I'm going live.
All right. And then it'll show, yep. Yep, it's a little bit of a lag, but.
That's all good.
Plus, you might have to put down, turn it down.
Turn the volume down a little bit, right there.
What's going on, everybody? Just giving everybody a little chance. We got 12 so far. We're going to give everybody a little bit of a chance. We got the mighty Joe Logan with us today, one of the GOATs in the city.
No.
We're going to get started here in a second, but man, we got a huge giant. I'm going to go ahead and share this real quick.
It's starting already.
Yeah.
Don't start.
Let's see. I'm going to go ahead.
Thanks for having me too, man.
Ain't no problem, man. Ain't no problem.
I appreciate this.
Man, this is about to be fun, y'all. Y'all about to enjoy yourselves. I'm about to share this, so I'm copying the link now. And I'm going to Facebook. So y'all give me 1 second just to get some more people. Okay, we already got 25 on. We can go ahead and start playing a little bit. See what we got. Saints, come on in, so go ahead and share it. We're going to get started. Once again, this is Joe Logan. I'm Vincent Alexander, founder of VA Music Ministry. We are excited here today to actually be able to have some questions, some answers for you, and then he's going to play a little bit for you as well. And we got a little special treat. He might just switch from the piano over to the organ. So not only is he a great pianist, but he's also a great organist, so we thank God for that. But with that being said, we're going to get started just with a word of prayer as he just plays a little worship music. Father God, we come right now in the name of Jesus, saying thank you for all that you have done. You are great, Father God. You are worthy of all the praise, all the glory, and all the honor. We come right now in the name of Jesus, just asking that you be in this live stream, Father God, that somebody's able to get blessed. We thank you for that right now. In your loving Son Jesus' name, use his hands, Father God. Use his mouth to give back. We ask this in your loving Son Jesus' name. We do pray. Amen. Quick story. I got a quick story for y'all. So people don't even know this. Growing up, I started playing keyboard around 19 years old. One of my biggest influences, right here. And the reason why I say that is because I used to always go to St. Stephen's concerts, and I'm telling you, St. Stephen's would bring all the big name people in, and he was the one playing. It was always either him or Titus or both of them together, and I'm telling you, I learned so much just from listening to them growing up. So now that was 16 years ago. I'm 35 now, so but that was about 16 years ago, and I'm telling you, I learned so much over the years. So you're in for a treat. With that being said, before we get to the questions and answers, we're going to do, let's go ahead and do the For Every Mountain. Let's do that one real quick. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull up For Every Mountain.
man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can y'all hear? If y'all can hear it just fine, give a thumbs up for me.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so as y'all can see, he's a beast. He's a beast. We ain't bringing nobody on here that can't play. He's a
Y'all,
beast.
please excuse my mistakes too, man.
Yeah,
I'm.
he's a beast. So with that being said, let's go in some
Thank you.
questions. Um,
By the
let's
way.
no problem. Let's
Yeah.
go in with some questions. Anybody got any questions? We see that
Breakdown. Oh yeah.
left hand
King's hand,
exercises.
X hand, left hand exercises. Okay. Are we talking about left hand as far as like scale wise? Are we talking chord wise?
Probably to get your left hand faster.
It's,
And then we'll
I'm about to say the simplest way. Yeah, I'm about to say the simplest way I can explain is just basically along with your right hand, start slow and then just gradually speed up either by 3 BPMs beats per measure or 5 BPM just depending on what pace you want to go. But never settle. The key is never settle for less than perfection. So if you find that your left hand is playing a little slower as your right hand at a certain speed, then slow it back down. Make sure you get it together, and then try it again. Then try it again until you get it right. So like that. If I was to. So.
Test your mic real quick.
Yeah. Is this thing on? Is this
Yep.
thing on?
Can y'all hear us?
Can you hear me okay? Can y'all hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Alright, so that one is, I didn't really get that from anybody. I just off of chords that you kind of do and just arpeggiate them. So C, that's a C blues 7, F major, B diminished, and then C, right? So. Right, so 1, 2, 1, 2. Like I said, I just made that up. So I mean, well, I didn't make it up, but those are the chords I kind of just did. So every now and then, it's nothing like really concrete. Sometimes you can make them up. They have books that you can buy and things online that you can search for that will help you with finger exercises and certain skills. Like for instance, of course, the classic one is Hammond. That's usually the go-to as far as not only finger exercises, but especially strengthening especially your ring finger and your pinky finger, which are pretty much known as your weaker fingers. So practicing those exercises, usually just doing simple basic scales, arpeggios, those will always help with your dexterity and your finger speed as far as your left hand is concerned.
So what about chords?
So as far as chords are concerned, the greatest start to starting chords with your left hand is to basically replicate what you're doing in your right hand. So, right. Okay, so you start there. So, and then just practice a melody on it. Yep. And then later on, as you progress, and then you can learn how to expand chords. So like I could take the same chord. So instead of taking the C chord, depending on how big your hand is, of course. If you can't make that stretch, then there's different ways you can, and it can still sound full. So. All right. So that's basically, and then of course, as your music vocabulary grows, you can start, trying different combinations and just seeing what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
All right, bring in some more questions. We need some more questions. Y'all got any questions for us? Last time we did a live stream, y'all had so many questions. So let's see where those questions are at. Also, post where you're from. I know there's a lot of people from all across the nation, even some across the world. waiting on a few questions to come in. Let's see what y'all got. He's got a whole list of knowledge. So. And one of the things I actually learned from him, as far as just listening, is that he had a lot of classical, as you can already kind of tell, he had like a lot of classical movements. And with those classical movements, it was like you could tell that, for instance, I'm trying to think of what song it was to where it just wowed my mind. You play some type of classical movement, and I want to say it was like in a shout.
Oh no!
You was in the middle of a shout.
Oh no!
And you broke down with this
What?
classical movement, and I was just like, "Oh my!" Maybe. Oh, and another song that he does a lot of classical movements.
Definitely don't remember that.
Even me.
Okay.
That stuff like that. He puts a lot of classical stuff in.
Yeah.
With that being said, somebody asked, "What is your favorite keyboard?"
My favorite keyboard. Blah, 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 blah. Man, shoot, that's hard to say. I mean, I've always pretty much, especially as far as like piano stuff, I've always been like a Yamaha man. Of course, I love Nord. I think those are probably the two best pianos going right now. Korg, man, just slipped my mind. Their latest keyboard, what was it?
You talking about the Chronos?
Latest, yeah, the Chronos, yeah. Their Chronos has a pretty nice piano as well. So
what about these virtual instruments? You
as
like
far
those?
as the virtual instruments, yeah, and I haven't. I'll be honest, I have not dug into them like I really want to as of yet. But that's definitely on my list, especially definitely on my to-do list. Getting into those virtual instruments, man, because I think those are amazing as well.
Yeah, one of my favorite is Ravenscroft.
Oh yeah, love Ravenscroft.
I'm a Ravenscroft fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that has one of the best piano sounds, if not the best. I mean, it's up there, like in my top three.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nord makes a really nice piano,
Yeah.
similar to Ravenscroft. Somebody says, "Oh, how to play a shout." We're gonna get to that in a second. We're gonna do a little shout for you here in a second.
Oh mercy.
Warren from ATL, what's up, man? So the piano sound that we're using here, I actually just have it on performance mode.
On GJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say GJ did a little setup on performance mode. Yeah, Gabriel Hatcher.
Shout out GJ.
Yeah,
my brother.
He had a little piano saved on her, and then
see what he did here. Okay.
Cheney had a little one on her too.
Okay,
as well.
that's cool. Yeah, so this particular
And that's
keyboard,
just a full grand.
Yeah, full grand. Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of an analog in there.
Yep. Yeah. So.
And the sliders don't work, so that's why we had it on. Yeah, the slider. That's why I had it on that.
Okay,
the sliders
so
didn't work, and then you can scroll over and add other stuff.
Yeah, right.
I think that's the bells.
Okay, cool. That's cool.
If you do, most of the time I think it's just that part of the keyboard.
Exactly.
But I was gonna.
That's perfect.
I was gonna ask you though, do you usually just play piano, or do you usually layer it with something?
Now, if I have one of these, which is motif ES or motif period, or another keyboard like a montage or any keyboard that I can pretty much layer on, I'm going to usually take advantage and layer.
Right.
And usually my setup is basically I'm usually playing a piano from my laptop, using my laptop, usually main stage, where I'll use one of my plugins like Ravenscroft to play piano or Rhodes or whatever. So piano, Rhodes, and then I'll use all my secondary instruments, my layer instruments. Leave those for the fader. So.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Somebody asked, he's feeling stuck. How do I overcome it?
Feeling stuck, and you're gonna have those moments, and that's okay. That's okay. So when you feel stuck, kind of, maybe that means it's time for you to kind of sit back for a minute, take a breather, relax for a minute, and not so much practice as far as hands-on. Maybe it's just time to listen. Listen, see what you can take in. Listen to different types of music, different genres. Listen to people that you've never heard before. The wonderful thing about this language that we call music is that it's so broad.
Yep.
It's so broad, and we can learn from everybody. And it could be like the seemingly the most boringest song, but it'll have that one little part that you be like, oh, that's nice, and then you can incorporate that into something else. So that's where, you know, that'll help you kind of get unstuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would playing other genres help you play better in gospel?
Absolutely, but keep in mind that the different genres definitely have their place, especially in gospel. So you have to know what to use and when to use it.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to. Those of y'all in gospel will understand this, especially. I'm not going to use Melvin Crispell, James Hall chords in a Richard Smallwood song because number one, it's a classical. It's a classic. Richard Smallwood, if you know Richard Smallwood, he's very classically trained, and his music really speaks for itself, and it's so pure. You really don't. I mean, you can do it if you want to, but when you listen to his music, you kind of like, okay, why? Because it kind of sometimes it takes away from it. And that's just my humble opinion on that.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in other words, if you're trying to put hip hop into certain gospel songs, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't work. Now, sometimes it will. Sometimes it won't. So like I said, it's just it's
Placement.
just a matter of seeing, placement and just seeing what works. And this is kind of where practice time kind of comes in because and here's the crazy thing about it though, when you really stop and think about it, and we all have our critiques on how music should be played and stuff. I mean, but when you really stop and think about it though, there's really no wrong way to play music.
It's all interpretation, huh?
Yeah, it's all in interpretation. And that's like I said before, that's what makes the language of music so beautiful because it's so broad and stuff. Just because we haven't thought about it doesn't mean it can't be done.
Yep. JB, we're gonna get to you in a second, but somebody has asked for a song request. They've asked for just to play a little bit of Total Praise.
A little bit of Total Praise, okay.
As his wife's in the background laughing.
Shout out to my baby Summer.
That's right.
I love her. I love me some her. Okay. that's the real basic. I mean, like pretty much scripted Richard Smallwood arrangement. Okay, give or take a couple chords. All right. Now, if I was to interpret it and kind of put my flavor into a song like that, I would do something to the. Okay, so I mean, still kind of keeping the integrity of the song, but and it's not over, and it won't overshadow what the choir is doing. Okay, because remember, as a musician, you're always accompanying the choir, right, or the soloist, whoever's singing the song. Okay.
Yikes. Ricky Richards, we could do a master class hopefully here soon.
Oh man, I'll be honored.
So how do you get better at runs? JB, he's 14. He plays at a church. He wants to spice it up.
JB, you ready to spice it up, man? Okay, so now let me tell you. Let me preface my response to that. And thanks for asking. Let me preface my response to that by saying, at 46, I'm still learning how to do this. Okay. So as far as runs, kind of going back to the basics. So doing scales, and especially if you're doing properly, you'll realize that your fingering will help you in your doing runs, especially when you're creating runs. So
can you give them just maybe like a blues run?
Okay, so
in whatever key. Okay, so that's a simple blues run.
Yep. See. Yep.
How would you spice it up?
So how would I spice it up? You can start. Okay, so. Okay.
Can you do it real slow? Well, that's one spice up way to do it, I can tell you right now.
Yep. So, yeah, so that's learn the basics first and then embellish with it, and there's so many ways you can kind of run around it. Then you can just do like different combos. Yep.
Joe, you got perfect pitch?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so another person with perfect pitch.
Yeah.
What key is that? Huh? Woo! Okay, so Josie had perfect pitch. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. I've been praying to God, Lord, just give me the perfect pitch. I don't have it. I want it, but I don't have it. It's all
You got
good,
it.
though.
So the way to develop it is just to keep. I mean, the more, and so here's the thing, man. The more you practice at it, the more those songs will kind of come to you. One of the things about, one of my first jobs was at a missionary Baptist church. And anybody knows back in the day, especially at a traditional missionary Baptist church, the deacons will always start out devotion. And you never know what key they're going to be in, of course.
Yep.
And so, that kind of helped out with the perfect pitch because they'll just start off a song. And of course, starting out, you like, I'm so glad but then after a while, the more it happens, when they said, I'm so glad. So you already know what key they're in, right?
So at what age did you realize you had perfect pitch?
Man, I was about 16, 17.
16, 17.
Yeah. Because I didn't really start taking it seriously until I was about 14 or 15. Gotcha. Seriously. Gotcha. That's when I started like practicing every day, like hours a day.
Gotcha.
Also,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So the question is now, how many people are ready for a little bit of a shout?
Oh no. Oh Father, help us.
I mean, I'm just saying, one of the things I used to go to St. Stephen's and hear was a shout. Choir break out in the shout, so I think we're going to do just a quick little shout real quick.
Y'all pray.
As I try to find it. There we go. There it is. There it is. Oh, maybe. Or, no, there it is.
What we're doing.
you did something. Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. What
Okay,
is that?
so that so that particular song, that particular run came from a song I did way back with. Now some of you old heads remember, especially from Indianapolis, remember this choir called the TM Mass Youth Choir. One of my first youth choir gigs, playing with Keith Phelps, and anybody knows about the Phelps brothers, phenomenal musicians. So he couldn't do the gig, or I think he was going to do other things, and he put it on me to do this gig. So one of the songs we did was a song called "Getaway Jordan." So anyway, we get to the vamp part, and they had like this little breakdown. I want to see Jesus, and everybody's going wild. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's pretty much where the run came from. So I just basically took that run and incorporated it into a shout, and just sped it up. So, so.
Do it slow one more time.
So basically,
It's just the same diminished but playing.
yeah, basically, pretty much the same pattern. Okay, yep. And if you listen to Israel's Alive in South Africa CD, Aaron Lindsay did it on his intro. On that intro. So that's a good way to pick it up there. So you can get it there or on TM. So, yep.
Y'all don't know this, but one of the songs I never knew it was him, but we used to do it for one of our high schools here in the city, Louisville, Kentucky, Eastern Gospel Choir. I used to sing a song, "I Look to the Hills, from which cometh my help." Was that you? On piano?
That was me on piano.
That was him on piano. And when I tell you, dun, 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 I'm talking about the whole piano part was killing. And I never knew that was
bless you, man. Thank
him.
You. Thank you, yeah.
Until somebody said, that's Joe Logan.
Yeah,
I said, hold on, Joe Logan that plays in our city?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah, that
so,
was me, man.
Hey, can you even find that anywhere?
Yeah, it's somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I can't even. I don't know if it's on the iTunes or Amazon stream. I don't know, but I think there is a way that you can get it. And if there's anybody watching that knows how to do that, just put the information up.
Please do.
And
I Look to the Hills by who?
William Remsen and LPC. Let Praise Continue. Another choir that I had the honor of playing for, alongside my brother. Shout out David Taylor on drums, Kanash Lisman on bass. My man Damon Dillon on organ, and I mean so many, Mark Phillips, everybody, and that was just, those were like so good times.
If y'all can, I've been trying to find that video, so if y'all can find it for me, let me know. Put it in the comment section. Yeah, that whole piano part you was killing.
Oh man, God bless you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, so if y'all ever listen to that piano part, that was D. Joe Logan. Also, you played for Rodney. Did you play for Rodney Bryant?
I did play for Rodney. Matter of fact, Rodney Bryant was was the first community choir I played for when I moved to Indianapolis back in 1990. I think we hooked up back in '91. But that was the first community choir I played for in Indianapolis, they allowed me to release a whole lot of pent-up energy that I kind of stored up when I was practicing and stuff.
Man.
Because it was always, because when you practice with the headphones, especially when you practice in like a live concert,
yep.
You always kind of envision yourself playing in front of people and playing, and hearing those type of responses and playing for a choir that I can actually sing. And so to have the opportunity to do that, because Rodney's choir, I mean to this day, I bet you today, if Rodney got his choir back together, they would still be one of the singingest choirs on this side of heaven.
Man, I love
Rodney Bryant. To have the pleasure of accompanying them and to do songs that I practice doing You know, that was a joy. That was a pure joy.
Did he? I know he didn't do it on the album. This is not the album that you played on where you did "We Offer Praise," is it?
No.
No. So it was an album after that, maybe.
I think I played on the project before, which was "Angels Watching Over Me," and I think Cedric Thompson and them did "We Offer Praise."
Oh, okay.
Cedric, Danny, Weatherspoon,
Okay.
that whole Tri-City crew.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of his most popular songs is "We Offer Praise."
Absolutely.
What was off the album that you played on? What was one of the most popular songs?
Probably.
That was one of my favorite albums.
Man.
Too, growing up.
Oh man. Oh goodness. Appreciate it. Off of "Angels Watching Over Me," probably "Stop By," which was. And matter of fact, we did it on. I think we did it on the. I play for Demetrius West now. Shout out to Demetrius West. I think we did it on his "Open Up the Floodgates" project, if I remember correctly. So we redid that. So that's a nice little churchy tune. Yeah, and then
Any more questions? We got some questions. We're gonna probably take the last maybe 10 minutes, allow him to go to the organ here in a minute. But any more questions before we and I guess what we can do, we can if you want to just bless him with even me until we get some more questions. Questions, but I'm going to allow him to transition over to organ real quick. I want him to be able to bless the organ before we leave this place, because we only got maybe 15 minutes left.
Okay.
And so as we transition over to organ,
transitioning to organ. All right.
To organ. I'm going to move it, so you might see my studio just for a second, bits and pieces of my studio, but we're going to move it over to the organ.
Why didn't you tell me to get in from the right side, man?
Oh yeah, no, I should have told you.
Shut up, man. Okay. Lord have mercy. Oh, feel at home. These are the same headphones I have at home. I don't feel so bad now. Shoot. Okay, so
Yes, Lord, going on.
And the church said, and I would not play it like that. I'm putting this on record, baby. I want one of these. It don't have to be. It don't have to be. It don't have to be this year, but sometime before Jesus comes, I want one of these.
Man.
Okay. All right. I'm putting it on. It's on the air. Okay?
It's live.
It's
We are
live.
live.
It's live. I want one of these.
On the spot. Any song requests on organ? Wonderful is his name.
Oh, okay. Cool. Here's the thing with Perfect Peace. Perfect Peace got like about, I know at least three variations, different variations that are out. So I always get juggled. I'm always trying to figure out which one I want to do. Yeah, you got the Marvin. Then of course original Keith Pringle.
Yep.
And so I'm always trying to figure out which one am I about to do.
Somebody said we're blessed, but actually he said it about 6 times.
We're blessed.
DJ Ray's like, nah, y'all gonna play.
Y'all gonna play.
I feel that. I feel that. People was asking, I think before, how do you approach preaching chords?
How do you approach preaching chords? Okay, you want to kind of, when the preacher's preaching, of course, depending on what kind of preacher it is, because there's some preachers that kind of want a certain style. So for instance, there's some people that kind of want that response. So right, and then you got other preachers. My wife is like rolling right now. You got other preachers that kind of just want you to rumble underneath them, meaning that you take your pull out your first 4 drawbars and just kind of rumble, and you just hold the one. You know, so it varies. Now, preachers that quietly have no concept of music, but actually know how to tune, and if you put them in a key, they'll go with you. A lot of times you can always tell when the preacher is about to end, when they're about to end. First of all, when they get to their third point, hopefully they're about to end. But so when they're winding up, and sometimes they'll give you signs like whether it's folding up a binder, or they'll just call you over like, I'm about to close now. Well, that's kind of your cue to take the organ. Okay, so, and even if they don't start a tune, you kind of find out relatively where they're at. Even if they're talking, they're in some type of a pitch. Even in their talking tone, they're in a type of pitch. and they'll usually stay steady. So like sometimes, like say they're in F, so you can kind of catch them, and then just kind of sneak in there. And once they hear the note, they'll usually pick it up. Now you have some of those preachers that they're just not going to get it. God bless them. That's fine. But and even if they don't get it, just pick a key relative to wherever they are, kind of sneak in there, and I'll just do like a run like that, or I'll do a chord and just kind of fade in, okay, and then just kind of, or you can kind of just compliment them, especially if they're singing preachers, you can if they're preaching and their phrases are real long. Like they like to hold the note, and then they'll
Leroy Elliott.
Right, yeah, prime example. And just kind of mess with them. And then of course when they start driving toward the end, and that's when you start pulling out drawbars and then. When all else fails, 3, 4, sharp, 5. If you don't do nothing else, 3, 4, sharp, 5. And all I'm doing with my left hand, I'm pretty much just duplicating what my right hand is doing. I mean, maybe a slightly different variation, but I'm really replicating what my right hand is doing, okay, just to make it full, okay? And then if you want to just add bass, just pull out the first 4. And then you can find out, especially when you expand in your left hand, you can start chording in your left hand even while playing the bass note. For example, instead of just playing a regular bass note, I can play down here. Okay, A, C, still full, right? Okay, so that's another way to do it, and and then you could just embellish with it. And then of course the one thing that we haven't covered today was studying theory. The more you study theory, the more you realize the relativity of the notes. So like I'm saying F, and most preachers like to do blues scale, so that's going to be their main goal. So, and like say the classic one, ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Right? So like I went to A flat, and then back to F. So that's one trick you can use on that. Okay, so that's pretty much my approach. Like I said, everyone has different approaches, but that's usually my approach.
Well, everybody, we have reached the 3 o'clock hour.
Hallelujah, I made it.
So he
Thank
made
you,
it.
Jesus.
Hey.
Woo-hoo.
And so thank y'all for joining us.
Hallelujah.
This has been the live stream with the mighty Joe Logan. And what we're gonna do,
Thank you for having me.
Ain't no problem, brother. Thank you.
Honor.
So the last request was, I think, what a mighty God we serve. We can just go out and drawbar settings. We'll go over all that on our organ videos. We actually got a couple videos on the website about drawbar settings. So go to vamusicministry.com. Right now, we can just go out on what a mighty God we serve.
Churchy?
Churchy.
Churchy. All right.